What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. A lot going on here. Russian President Vladimir Putin, another assassination attempt. Yeah, we'll give you the details of that. He might be terrified of traveling here. Yeah. Also, North Korea launched their spy satellites, and well, here's what happened.
New this morning, tensions are rising on the Korean peninsula after North Korea attempted to launch a spy satellite last night. Well, the launch wasn't successful, but these are some of the pieces of it that were recovered in South Korea. This morning, the U.S. and other countries are condemning North Korea for using what they say is banned ballistic missile technology. Here's NBC News foreign correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer, who's been following the developments overnight and has the latest.
What we know so far is that North Korea failed to launch its first spy satellite into space. They admitted that it was a problem with the rocket malfunctioning and that they will try a second launch as soon as possible. Now, Pyongyang had already announced earlier that it was going to launch a satellite before June 11th to monitor U.S. military activities. South Korean officials say it appears to have crashed into the sea, and they've recovered what they believe is some of the debris. Now, the launch triggered air raid sirens and alerts across Seoul, where people were getting messages on their cell phones telling them to prepare to evacuate, only to be told 20 minutes later that it was a mistake. So for that time, there was a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion. Japan also issued a warning to residents in Okinawa. Now, the launch has been strongly condemned by U.S. officials. A statement from the National Security Council saying ballistic missile technology was used in a, quote, brazen violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. But it also added, quote, the door has not closed on diplomacy, but Pyongyang must immediately cease its provocative actions. According to the NSC, President Biden and his advisors are assessing the situation, and they are in touch with allies. The Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, is already in the region. He's in Japan, where the government last week issued a statement saying it would destroy any North Korean missiles that came into its territory. This satellite is one of several high-tech weapons systems that Kim Jong-un has vowed to introduce, saying it's for North Korea's self-defense. This launch today not failing in ramping up tension again in the region.
Yeah, so much for that spy satellite, right? Yeah, it's somewhere in the bottom of the ocean now. Yeah, and going forward here, Vladimir Putin's not going to like several things going on here right now. The United Kingdom Prime Minister says that Ukraine's rightful place is in NATO. And you won't believe what he said back here. Yeah, some 40 European officials are convening in Moldova, just 12 miles from the Ukrainian border, which Putin has maybe had plans to take over Moldova for a security conference and show of support for both Eastern European countries ahead of Ukraine's anticipated counteroffensive against Russia. U.S. ambassador to Ukraine says, quote, heartbreaking, more than 500 Ukrainian children have been killed as a result of Russia's unprovoked full-scale war in Ukraine. And today, on International Day for Protection of Children, 2 more were tragically killed during another round of Russia's cowardly nighttime attacks, I believe, here. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here. Justice must be served. United Kingdom Prime Minister Rishi Sunak told CNBC's that Ukraine's rightful place is in the NATO alliance. I agree with NATO Secretary General. Ukraine's rightful place is in NATO. This sends a strong signal to Russian President Vladimir Putin by agreeing to safeguard Ukraine's security for as long as it takes. Remember that if Ukraine is actually allowed into NATO at some point, that would mean that if Russia attacked Ukraine after that point, that would be a declaration of war against the United States and the other 31 countries now against all of them. So that would mean war for the United States and all the other countries in NATO. Russia's having a hard enough time right now with just Ukraine. This would literally mean World War III. And you can see right here, some analysts say in Ukraine, Russia is nearly down to only its nukes. Now, this is, a figure of speech. They're not only down to this, but remember, we've also seen, as you can see pictured here in the video, the Wagner Group boss has criticized Russia personally himself in videos where they've said, yeah, we have literally had a lack of ammunition. And this is a serious problem. Is this the case because Russia is significantly low on ammo? This is a good question. But then you got Dmitry Medvedev, the former president for Russia, and maybe the number 2 guy in command there in Russia, saying that the war in Ukraine could last decades. How are they going to do that if they're already low on ammo? Well, one thing's for sure is that Russia's not giving up, and everything they say is they're not going to give up. They're not going to have peace. They're not going to do any type of agreement unless they take land from Ukraine, a significant amount of land, and Ukraine doesn't want to give up their land. So at this point, there's no peace to be had from either side. Meanwhile, the war is coming to Russia as Moscow just, you can see here, there were strikes in Moscow here yet again. This has happened now at least a couple times here. Quote, Ukrainian drones, it hasn't been confirmed that they're Ukrainian drones, but that's what most people think, struck wealthy districts of Moscow. Russia said what one politician called the most dangerous attack on the Russian capital since World War II. Well, Kiev was also hit from the air for the 3rd time in 24 hours. So Russia now getting at least a very small taste of what Kiev is having on a daily or hourly basis as well. Putin is terrified of being assassinated as his refusal to travel abroad after drone attack near his luxury home, according to at least some reports. Yeah, Russian President Vladimir Putin has long sought to project an image of invincibility through his notorious PR stunts and aggressive assertions of Russia's role on the war stage. But according to a report in the Daily Beast that cited the Russian independent outlet Verska, the Russian leader increasingly is fearing for his life. The report said he was so concerned about being assassinated from the fallout from the Ukraine war that he was refusing to travel from the country. The source, described as a high-ranking Russian official, said he was feeling behind the scenes of the Kremlin and that he was wary of traveling because he has no sense of security. This comes now as there has been maybe 2 attacks near his residence in Moscow. And also, we have seen a possible coup attempt by the Russian Wagner leader boss. Maybe. It depends on what you do or do not believe. We're not sure. But one thing we know is that we're nearing a year and a half. Not quite yet. Not quite. But it took Russia 224 days to take Bakhmut. Even if, Ukraine says it took, they haven't even taken it. But it took them 224 days to take just one city in Ukraine. And that's a long time. So, You guys can let me know your thoughts here on this, but one thing's for sure is that it's going to be a long, long, drawn out process here. And this is as they're running out of ammo. So you guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. And I'll keep bringing you guys what's going on here. Also, thanks for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you should watch next. There could be some massive new cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, and more you can see here in this video. Or click here to watch my newest video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.